will be started for you. Cool. Next one. We have created one entity class that is mapping with the database table, and we are creating one repository interface to perform the database operation, and we have created a REST controller also. That application we have tested, it is working as expected. The application is working as expected. Very good. Now let me add Swagger also for this project, guys. So we have already discussed about Swagger. So do you know what is the purpose of Swagger? Do you know what is the purpose of Swagger? Can you tell me what is the purpose of Swagger? Swagger is used for documentation. Swagger is used for documentation. Easily we can test our application by using Swagger documentation. For the Swagger, we need to add some dependencies in the project pom.xml. Let's go to our project pom.xml and let's add the dependencies here. Let's go to project pom.xml and let's add the dependencies in the project pom.xml. Perfect. Let's go to Swagger dependencies and add the dependencies for generating the documentation and for testing our application. Perfect. Guys, my IDE is slow. I need to do two things. I need to add the Swagger dependencies and I need to add Swagger configuration class to generate the documentation. Already we discussed about that Swagger. I'm not wasting the time writing again. I will copy paste those details from the previous project we have developed. Yeah. Let's take Swagger dependency and Swagger UI dependency. Swagger dependency and Swagger UI dependency, copy from that, and I'm adding this in the H2 database project. I'm adding those things in the H2 database project, and I'm configuring Spring Boot 2.5.2 version because this latest version having some issue. I'm going for 2.5.2 version of Spring Boot, then Swagger I have configured. Let's copy this config package where the Swagger is available. Simply I'm pasting Swagger config class in this project. Simply I'm pasting Swagger config class in this project. Go to config, Swagger config.java, Swagger config.java. In this class, we are writing Swagger configuration annotation, and it is taking in.ashokid.rest package to scan this. It will scan this base package and it will scan for the REST controllers and it will generate the documentation. That is perfect. Now close this project, close this project, close this project. Good. Let's run this application now. Right click, run as boot app. Right click, run as boot app. Run as boot app. Application is running. My application is running now. Okay, go to browser and access. So application is running on what port number? This application is running on the port number 9090. Let's go to browser. Let's try accessing that application using Swagger URL and test this application. Test this application. Localhost colon 9090 slash swagger-ui.html. Localhost colon 9090 slash swagger-ui.html. Guys, can you see my Swagger documentation? Can you see my Swagger documentation? All of you can see my Swagger documentation? Come on. Guys, respond. We are able to see this documentation now. Go to this REST controller, get products, post products. Now click on try it. Product ID, let me add it as 101. Product name, I'm adding it as mouse. Price, I'm adding it as 500. Price, I'm adding it as 500. Click on execute, and see the response. Product saved successfully. Let me save one more product. Product ID is 102. Product, that is keyboard. Price is 2500. Price is 2500. Now click on execute. One more got saved. One more product got saved. Now go for get request. Go for this get request. Try it out. Click on try it out. Click on execute. Can you see that we are getting all the products? So post request method is working. Get request method is working. Go to database and see that localhost colon 9090/h2-console. Localhost colon 9090/h2-console. Click on test connection. Yes, connected successfully. Click on connect. Yeah, click on connect. I have connected to this database. Go to the table, run it. Can you see my 2 records? Can you see my 2 records in the table? Yeah. Are we able to use embedded database? Yes, guys, we are able to use embedded database. We are able to use embedded database. Perfect. Now, fine. I can access that from here also, products. I can access that from here also, products. I'm able to send the get request from my browser. I'm able to access the products. Now, I will give this URL for you guys. I will give this URL for you. I will give this URL for you. Can you access my application? I have given this URL for you. Can you access my application? Why you cannot access my application? Where my application is running? Where my application is running? My application is running in the local. If I give this URL, can you access this URL? Can you access this URL? Ashok IT website URL I have given to you. Can you access this URL? Can you click on that URL? Yes, you are able to click on that URL. You are able to access Ashok IT website URL. But when I have given REST API URL, which I have developed, you are not able to access. That is the problem. So whatever the REST API I have developed, that REST API is running in my local system. That REST API is running in my local system. Are you guys able to follow me? The REST API is running in my local system. That is the reason you are not able to access. Okay, that is the problem. That is the problem. Fine. So before understanding the today's topic, anybody having any questions related to H2 database? Prasad, you're asking me a question. Swagger dependency. You should declare that outside H2, man. H2 is one dependency. H2 is one dependency. And Lombok is one dependency. Swagger is one dependency. Separately, you have to declare all these dependencies. Every dependency is separate. They are not childs. Okay? Cool. Now, let's jump on to next topic, guys. Let's jump on to next topic. So, that is very, very, very important and interesting also. That is very, very, very important and interesting topic. How to deploy our applications to cloud so that everybody can access. We have developed several REST APIs so far. From the last 1 month, we are trying to understand REST API development only. We have developed several REST APIs using Spring Boot. We have developed several REST APIs using Spring Boot. We are able to run the REST APIs. We are able to run the REST APIs in our system. But others cannot access our REST APIs. Others cannot access our REST APIs because our REST API is running in localhost. Our REST API is running in localhost. We have developed several REST APIs using Spring Boot. We are able to run the REST APIs in our system, but others cannot access our REST APIs because our REST API running in localhost. If we want others to access our REST API, we need to host our REST API in the internet. We need to host our REST API in the internet. If we want to expose our REST API for others also, then we should host our REST API in internet. If we want to expose our REST API for others also, then we should host our REST API in internet. If we host our REST API, then others can access our API using API URL. If we host our REST API, then others can access our API using API URL. That is called as public URL. Our application will have a public URL. Okay, how to host our application in the internet so that others can access? Guys, you have developed so many applications. So far. Those applications you are running in your local system. Now, can you give your application URL to your friend? Ask your friend to access? Cannot. Because you are running in the local. Now, I want my application to expose for the public. I want all of you to access my application. I want to give the URL. Of my application so that everybody can access my application. Okay. Now, today we are going to understand how to host our application in the internet so that everybody can access our application. That is our today's topic. Interesting or not? Till today, our application is running in the local. Now our application will run in the internet. People can access our application by using application URL. How ashokitech.com website you are able to access, how facebook.com you are able to access, our REST APIs also people can access from today. How to host our REST APIs in the internet, that is our today's topic. Is this clear, guys? Now, today I am going to use one cloud platform which is called as Heroku Cloud. I will show you how to host our application in the Heroku Cloud. Before going to show the application to Heroku Cloud, first I will keep my application in the GitHub repository. I think all of you know how to work with GitHub. Do you know how to work with the GitHub? Some people don't know how to work with the GitHub, but I will give the steps clearly, guys. Just follow the steps, you will be able to do it. Okay, good. Hosting REST API in Heroku Cloud. That is our today's topic. Heroku is providing services for free of cost to host our applications. Free of cost. You no need to pay anything for Heroku. You can use the Heroku for free of cost to host your application. That is, forget about that. The first step that I am going to do is create the account in GitHub, guys. Create account in github.com. The people who are not using GitHub, create account in github.com. Okay, www.github.com URL will be available. www.github.com will be available. You can create a free account in the GitHub. GitHub is a cloud provider. Then second step, download and install Git client software. Okay, now see here, I am going to github.com. This is my GitHub account I have. Inside this GitHub account, I have repositories where I have created my projects in this. where I have created my projects here. Angular Heroku application, Spring Boot Docker application, Python Flask application, Spring Boot JWT, in-memory security, JDBC authentication, Swagger. All these projects I have kept in my GitHub repository so that my students can take from here. My students can take from here. All my projects are available in the GitHub. Okay. So whatever the REST API we have developed, H2DB app, I want to keep that application also in the GitHub so that I can easily host my application from GitHub to Heroku. I will host my application from GitHub to Heroku. Okay. Create an account in the github.com. Download and install Git client software. In order to download the Git client, www.gitscm.com. That is the URL. From there, you can download Git client. Simply go here, download Git client. Download Git client, gitscm.com. Here, download for Windows. You can simply click on download for Windows. It will download the Git client software for you. It will download the Git client software for you. You just have to install that. Once you have installed that client software, you will get whenever you right click on your mouse, you will be able to see Git bash option. Can you see the Git bash option? Can you see the Git bash option here? Come on. Can you see Git bash option? That means Git client is installed. Okay. These are the two steps. Create account in the GitHub. Download and install Git client software, gitscm.com. Right click on the mouse and see Git bash is displaying or not. Download, right click on the mouse. Right click on mouse and check Git bash here option displaying or not. Git bash here option displaying or not. If it is displaying, that means your Git client is installed successfully. Right click on the mouse and check Git bash here option displaying or not. Okay, once it is displaying, that means your Git client is installed. Now go to GitHub account, go to GitHub account and create public repository. Create public repository. I will show you that. Go here. These are my repositories, guys. If you click on the here profile, you can see the repositories here. You can see the repositories here. So what are the repositories are available? What are the repositories are available? There are so many repositories are available. Click on new. I want to create one new repository. What is the repository name? Spring Boot Rest H2DB app. Spring Boot Rest H2DB app. That is the repository name I am taking. You can take any name. I'm creating Spring Boot Rest H2DB app as my repository name. Then I am selecting as a public. I'm selecting it as a public. I'm not selecting anything else, guys. I'm just creating a repository and I'm keeping this as a public repository. I'm keeping this as a public create repository. Okay. One repository got created. We just need to execute these commands, guys. That's it. Nothing else. We just need to execute these commands. We created a new repository. We just need to execute these commands. Okay, right. What are these commands? Go to GitHub account and create a public repository. Once the repository got created, it will display some commands. We have to execute those commands to push our project to GitHub repository. It will display commands. We have to execute those commands. To push our project to GitHub repository. That's it. It will display commands. We have to execute those commands to push our project to GitHub repository. Now let us see what are the commands it is displaying and how I am going to execute those commands. These are the commands it is displaying. These these are my Git. This is my Git repository URL. My project will be available here now. I will execute these commands. This is not required. Instead of this, what I will do, git add -a, git commit, git branch, git remote, git push. Yeah. So these are the commands that I am going to execute now to push the project into repository. Go to GitHub account and create public repository. Execute, go to project directory, go to project directory and execute below commands. Go to project directory and execute below commands. Go to project directory and execute below commands. These commands we are going to execute. These commands we are going to execute. Now let us see workspace, 13 SBMS workspace, last project, 38 project, H2DB application. This is my project. This is my project. Right click, git bash here. Right click, git bash here. Commands are there, na? We have to execute the commands. I have given the commands order also. In which order I have to execute the commands I have given. First command is what? Git init. You can see in the paint. Git init is the first command to initialize our folder as a Git repository folder. Okay. I have executed init command. Init command. Git init command. Now the next one, the next command is git add -a. Git add -a. I have added all these files to git staging. Then git commit -m, first commit the message. This is my first commit I am doing. Git commit my first commit. I have done commit. Then I'm choosing branch, git branch -m, git branch -m main. I'm setting the branch name as a main branch.